Bobby Marks, ESPN NBA front office insider, regular contributor to NBA Today. NBA free agency tipped off last night on the mothership. This evening, a 3-hour NBA Today free agency special. That'll start at 7 Eastern. All right, Bobby, let me start with that. Surprised that Miles Turner's going to the Bucks, and then what they did with Dame Lillard.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought, listen, Indiana gets to an NBA Finals, and certainly Turner is a priority. I think things changed a little bit with the Halliburton injury as far as where Indiana is going next year with their roster. I think the interesting thing, Dan, they haven't paid the luxury tax in 20 years.
Wow.
If they had signed Turner, this would have put them into tax for the first time, and they basically let him walk to a division rival that's trying to keep their franchise level player on their roster. So yeah, it is surprising. The Lillard one, I think the Lillard one is probably more surprising for me. I know he's out with that injury and he's owed $113 million, and they stretched that money over 5 years. It's the biggest stretch ever, $22.9 million that he's going to be owed. And I think when Damian does get returned from that injury, he'll have a high demand, whenever that is. It might be a year from now here, but it will be interesting how this Bucks roster with they lose Brook Lopez, but they get Miles Turner to join Giannis.
More likely or less likely that Giannis will be on the move anytime soon?
I think it's less likely that he'll be on the move. I said that this morning when we were doing TV, just based on some of the moves they had made with Bobby Portis, and they bring back Gary Trent Jr. and Kevin Porter, some of their role players. They still got to go get a point guard, though. I mean, I think that's going to be the most important thing. I think the one name to keep an eye on is Chris Paul. I would keep an eye on Chris Paul. I don't know if it fits what Chris is trying to do at this tail of his career. Certainly being in Milwaukee, not close to home. I know that is a priority for him. But he's the best available free agent point guard in the market. He played 82 games last year, and he's still got a lot left. So I would think if I'm Milwaukee, that's the priority for me as far as going out and trying to get a player like that.
But what about the Pacers in lieu of Tyrese Halliburton? What do you do? We saw what Dallas did with Kyrie out, and you get D'Angelo Russell. What's Indiana's mindset here?
Well, the market of free agent centers, and this is kind of the timing of it is not good for Indiana, because we had a rash of centers come off the board yesterday. You had Brook Lopez, you had Clint Capella. There was a number of players here. Really, they have this we call it the non-tax. It's $14 million to go out and spend. DeAndre Ayton's the best available out there. I would think the market for DeAndre Ayton gets a little bit better. It had cooled off a little bit. We thought maybe the Lakers were linked to him, and we'll see if that plays out. But I think if Ayton wants to go to Indiana, that would probably be the better fit for him. But it is a tough blow for Indiana, because now you lose 2 out of your 5 starters for next year.
But are you bringing in somebody as a temporary replacement for Halliburton?
Well, they've got T.J. McConnell, and they have Andrew Nembhard, and they went through the draft and picked up a guard there. So I think the interesting thing, Dan, is the move they made before the draft, when Halliburton, right in the NBA Finals, when they were able to get their first round pick back. They traded their own pick this year to New Orleans and got their pick back in 2026. So now that gives them the flexibility. Like, they're almost kind of where like Boston is, where you're almost, I don't want to say gap year, but you can kind of pull back a little bit here and reset that roster and still get a pretty good draft pick.
Would you move Jaylen Brown if you're the Celtics?
I wouldn't, because I keep on coming back to this notion that eventually Jason Tatum's coming back. I mean, and you're going to have, if the goal is to try to win, you need Jaylen Brown and Derek White around him. And it's so hard getting a player like Brown, who's a top 20 player, and White is a do everything type guy, to add to your roster in trades and free agency. I wouldn't, unless it's the mothership of packages and everything like that. I wouldn't move off Jaylen Brown.
Bobby Marks, ESPN NBA front office insider, and NBA Today free agency special. It's 3 hours starting at 7 Eastern tonight. Can you help me understand or translate what Rich Paul was saying to us and I guess the Lakers about LeBron almost begrudgingly opting in? But hey, remember, it's about winning now, not the future.
Well, when I saw that, Dan, I had to send it to my wife. I had said, "Can you interpret this for me? Because I don't understand anything on here." It's interesting. It's like, well, we're going to opt into $53 million, but we want the roster to be better. And I want to win. It has to be a championship roster. Well, if you wanted to do that, why didn't you just decline your option? You had your pick of teams. I mean, that would have been essentially the easiest thing to do here. Now he's opted in. There's an incomplete for the Lakers as far as their offseason so far. I mean, they went out and got Jake LaRavia, but we've been talking since February about getting a center. I mean, they need to get a center, and there's no market for them outside of Ayton right now. And it's going to be interesting, the collateral damage or the impact if they don't make significant improvements here, because you've got Luka on one end, who's your future, and then you have LeBron here on a last year of a contract here. You're basically kind of working on two different timelines.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand. And they lose Dorian Finney-Smith to the Rockets.
Yep.
And I start to wonder, okay, they're going to bring back Austin Reeves. You think he turned down that extension, but they're going to bring him back, I'm guessing. But I just wonder, what exactly is LeBron saying? And I agree with you. I said the same thing. If you don't like what it looks like in L.A., then go to Cleveland and win another title there. If you're not happy with this, you're not part of the future, then you can win a championship in Cleveland with the East wide open.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have worked maybe 5 years ago. I mean, but now, as I said, like where the Lakers are, when you went out and you acquire Luka, like he's the face of the franchise. Like he's the face of the franchise. They're not going to go out and make a short-term move to satisfy LeBron. Like they're not going out and giving up all their draft equity for a short-term move for a player that likely won't be on their roster next
But aren't
year.
the Lakers trying to win now, Bobby?
Well, that's what they're trying to kind of thread the needle. Like you're trying to thread the needle of winning now, saving your flexibility for next year. It's hard to do in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Trying to do that in the Western Conference, we went through yesterday. Dallas got better because they got D'Angelo Russell as a temporary replacement for Kyrie. Of course, Cooper Flagg. You go through the list: Denver, Cam Johnson, Houston, of course. As far as where they're, OKC brings back everything. Like if you tell me right now, is the Lakers a top 5 or 6 team in the West? I don't think they are. And we had this debate this morning. I would say the Dallas and Nico Harrison got criticized. He got crucified, right? Like, and that's rightfully so based on the trade and what happened. But you could make the argument that Dallas is in a better position right now than the Los Angeles Lakers as far as where they are. And I know they got lucky with Cooper Flagg, but with Cooper Flagg, and if they get Kyrie back and the depth they have with that roster, if they stay healthy, that they're in a better position.
I don't want to hear Nico Harrison tell me about the vision that he had, because the vision was, hey, I traded away Luka. People hated me. We had injuries. If we win one more game, we're not even in the lottery.
Yeah.
There's no vision here. He lucked into Cooper Flagg. That's all he needed to say.
Yeah.
Hey, I still believe in defense. When we're healthy, we're going to be very competitive. We lucked into the lottery, and I got Cooper Flagg. That's it. But don't tell me, hey, you see the vision that I had? What exactly is that vision?
You know, it would have been refreshing if he just went up there and goes, man, we got lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, like humanize it. Like humanize it, right? We would all been like, yeah, you know what? You did get lucky.
What do you expect out of Cooper Flagg first year?
Oh, man. I tell you, I've probably told this story too many times, but I mean, I live down in Southwest Florida, and I saw Cooper play when he was at Montverde at the City of Palms Classic in Fort Myers. This is when Cooper was 16. This was his senior year in high school. And this is with Derek Queen and Liam McNeely and Asen Newell, that team. And I was sitting with a scout, and I said to the scout, I go, I'm not making this up. I go, he could play in the NBA right now. 16. The beauty of Cooper Flagg is not him scoring 22, 23 points a game. The beauty of Cooper Flagg is defense. I mean, his defense, as far as his length, his IQ, that's what's going to keep him in these games down the stretch here. And I think he's all business. I had an opportunity to sit down with him, high level, but I love the fact that he can come in right now and make an impact defensively.
But I also wonder, how do you ease him in to a lineup that's Do you start him?
You start him, then you have PJ Washington come off. That's the thing with Dallas. They got so much depth. They have, whether it be PJ Washington or Najee Marshall or Caleb Martin. I mean, you go Kyrie, Clay, Cooper, AD, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford. I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at here. But I do think I mean, Jason's talking about, Kid is talking about playing my point a little bit here too, which is going to be interesting here. But I do think you kind of, it's like baptism by fire.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd have him come in off the bench. He's playing against their second unit. But then you do kind of want him surrounded a little bit there. I mean, he's really got the luxury of he can defer, and nobody's going to complain if he defers. If he went to the Wizards or went to Brooklyn, I mean, all eyes would be on him like, all right, let me see what you can do. With Dallas, he can attempt to blend in a little bit there.
Yeah, it's almost like a quarterback getting drafted with the first pick and like basically throwing him into like on an expansion team. Like we saw that, I think Derek Carr, right, with the Texans. And, where Cooper, he's not going to Utah or Washington or Brooklyn, one of these teams that's rebuilding. You basically have all these veterans around him that you can ease him more into the situation.
Any big moves you're expecting?
We have all these restricted free agents out there. Jonathan Kuminga, Josh Giddey. There's a group of them. The problem is there's no money out there in free agency for a team to come in and give an offer sheet here. We'll see what happens on the trade front. Free agency, we had a lot come off the board on Monday here. Like we might be done by the end of the week, free agency wise. It's the downside of the ability to negotiate with your own players once the finals ends.
If you were going to, let's say one of your children, you're going to show and tell, bringing in my dad, he's going to explain the NBA aprons. So it's career day, but you were going to explain it to, let's say, fifth graders.
Yeah.
Treat me like a fifth grader and my audience and explain the famous NBA aprons, that second apron here.
Yeah, I know. I wish we would come up with a different name, right? It's a punitive restriction that once you exceed it, okay, once you exceed this level, you're all right. Let's all right. I'm going to talk like a fifth grader. You have a toy box of toys. Okay, you have 20 of your best toys. Okay, once you exceed this restriction, this level, I'm going to go in the toy box, Dan, and I'm going to take 15 out of those toys away. But I'm still going to give you 5 of your best toys, okay? But I'm taking those other 15 away here. Now you have less toys to play with. But they're still pretty good, but you won't be able to add any more toys to that here. And that's what the league is saying. We're going to allow you to keep your best, but we're not going to allow you to go to Golden State or the Clippers and grab their best player. And what it does is it makes you draft well. It makes you prioritize keeping your own players. If you don't, like Phoenix, who's been a second apron team and had 3 high-level players, and they have 3 shiny toys, but not really anything else good to that roster, it really hurts you. Like Oklahoma City is going to be, if they're a team that can defeat the second apron, as we call it, they're the ones that can do it because of Shea, Chet, Jalen Williams, 4 first-round picks next year. All these young players, when Lou Dort gets expensive, Cason Wallace will probably replace him. When Isaiah Hartenstein replaces him, Thomas Sorber, who they drafted, replaces him. So you can keep on turning the wheel there.
No, thank you. Thank you for treating us as
I've never used that. I've never used that analogy. I just made that one up.
Maybe you could do it to Greeny, because Greeny doesn't understand the second apron. So maybe you just treat him like a fifth grader. Have fun tonight, Bobby. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Bobby Marks, ESPN NBA front office insider.